Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you. If you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Taking a step aside. And allowing Spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. I feel like I'm about to read these cards a very different way, so we'll see what happens here. Three of Wands. There's this energy with this Three of Wands. I'm being very drawn to the conical hats here. And the conical hats really go back to the lunar calendars that used to be kind of worn as hats by certain priests. And this is an energy of like, I gotta be honest, there's a heavy energy of like magi energy that's coming through. So that may be important for somebody. For others of you, it may just be this sort of magical lineage or this magical awakening that's taking place. Someone may be stepping more into the field of like magic. There's this energy coming in with those conical hats, though, that someone is paying a lot of attention to either lunar qualities or the cycles of their emotions. Both are very important for magic. And when I look at these two, the central one has this hand posture that's making me think of whether you love him or you hate him, it's making me think of Graham Hancock and like how he's always pointing out on the statues their hand posture. So there's something here about very ancient energy is coming through. I'll just put it that way. It's a very ancient energy that's coming through. It's almost like times before. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. There she is. There she is. All right, I just felt a very Hecatian energy step through. Okay, so I gotta adjust for a minute. All right. I think that whoever this message is for, this is really speaking to a collective that is really stepping into a more magical space at this time. We may, for example, be going through certain initiation processes, especially for her to show up for me. We may be experiencing some liminal experiences inside of our 3D. The initiation for some of you is not necessarily going to be in like this spiritual transposed way. You may actually be experiencing it within your 3D, having to leave major things behind, having to take major steps forward, maybe even having something ripped away. There is something here that is required in the emotional landscape with that moon energy stepping through to be almost like ripped open in order for the vulnerability and for illumination to take place. There's something here that's trying to be illuminated. I do feel in some way it relates to the staffs that these individuals are holding. So when we get into the staff energy, we're really getting into the King and Queen of Wands. And the King and Queen of Wands are very important to the magical process because it's the direction of our willpower. So there's something here about our emotions and the direction that our willpower takes that this Hecatian energy that's stepping through is really trying to bring forward. When we talk about Hecate, we're talking about the gatekeeper, right? She's really the gatekeeper of some very deep mysteries in terms of where we stand as human beings on the threshold of our godhood. And there's this very shadowy element that's kind of sludging around for me right now. So there may be a lot of shadow material that's coming up. Maybe some very negative core concepts are starting to surface for somebody. These like beliefs that we have that are limiting us in some way are starting to be illuminated. And these are all hindering us from being able to take control of that wand. Okay. is something very ancient. I almost feel like there's a soul story that's trying to entangle, a very deep soul story, some sort of narrative that we've lived over and over and over across lifetimes is trying to emerge and to be seen. And whenever such an old embedded energy like that is coming up, it's very, very hard, right? It's very tumultuous. It's very painful in a lot of situations. And so, the Witch Mother seems to be stepping through in order to help whoever it is that is waking up to this more divine structure within their life, this more divine quality within their life. It's not just a passive divinity. This is a very active divinity that someone is awakening to, or is trying to have, starting to have re-emerge within themselves. She's almost here like offering this sort of energy of comfort, like, I'm with you, right? This crossing of the threshold, you're not alone. Okay. We have the Page of Swords. Notice how this page is on the edge of a cliff. And what's under that cliff? It looks very shadowy and dark. And this page hasn't grown into their sword. They haven't grown into their truth yet. Maybe they haven't grown into their style of communication or into their new set of beliefs just yet. But you can see on the horizon, it's like a new day is dawning. And that's what this page is looking at. I think that whoever's message this is for, it's like we're learning to not look at the past. We're learning to look towards the future, towards the new dawn, towards the next day. And rather than poring over the events that have happened previously, it's like we've dealt with that material and now we're trying to step forward. But in this stepping forward, it's almost like that's what's bringing up this old shadow material to the surface. And I almost feel like I can see it like coming up over this cliff towards this character. And this is not your enemy, is basically what I'm being given. To view it as an aspect of yourself, an aspect of your experience, and to not have to vilify the energy, but to understand that it's part of you. There's a lot of lessons that can be learned here, and that's part of this page growing into this sword. There's a lot of lessons to learn from it, because it's all experience, it's all information. Okay. There may be some sort of storm in a person, in some of your lives right now. I'm not going to say it's for everybody who this message is for, but I am feeling this like very stormy, tumultuous energy kind of creeping in, and that may be why we're setting off towards this new dawn or picking a new direction. 3 of Wands, it's a new direction, but there's something very important in this time. Remember that, when we look back at the situations in our life, so many of the situations in our life that seem negative, we can look back and we can say, hey, that was actually working out for me. That actually did me a favor. It's always in the moment when it feels rough or it feels raw or it feels painful that we can't see that. And there's kind of like this higher perspective that she's coming through to kind of give or kind of bring. And I feel that, whoever this message is for, you're probably feeling this emerge within you, where it's like, hey, this is going to be okay. It may not work out the way you had wanted, but it's going to work out the best for you. When we hold on to that sort of faith in our path or faith in our universe, things tend to go a little bit better than when we're holding on to the negative vibration or to the fear matrix, right? And that fear matrix energy really doesn't have a place with her. And I think that in order to really take control of this wand or this staff, we have to learn to change our perspective and to change our minds in order to put that behind us. Because wherever it is that she seems to be helping someone get, there's a lot of power there, and we have to learn how to take responsibility of that power. And by imbuing ourselves in the fear matrix and being paranoid or worried or always having like the worst case scenario play through our head, that's not taking responsibility over that energy. We have to learn to wield the energy. And that's what this page is doing. He's learning to wield this sword. Okay, so whoever this message is for, this is a process that you're going through right now. You're learning to take control of your mental energy. Okay, and the Hermit. So this deep dive within. I want to point something out. Again, we see this conical hat because it is the wizard, but he looks very similar to, in this deck, the Hierophant. And the Hierophant and the Hermit are not that separate, right? They go about things in kind of a different way. In this deck, they're very, very similar. And the Hierophant in this deck is a number 5. This Hermit is a number 9. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about the Hierophant to the Hermit, because the Hierophant has the power to loose and the power to bind. I feel that someone has discovered that about themselves, that you have the ability to choose how you interpret your experiences. And based on how you choose to interpret your experiences, that dictates how much personal power you actually have. It also dictates your value that you determine for yourself. And when we get into the Wand's energy, this is a very high value and high personal responsibility over our energy. It's like energy tending, right? When we get into the Hermit card, this is where we pass from that lesson and we're going within and we're cultivating the ability to consistently show up a certain way. The Hermit is not struggling with, do I have access to this material or do I not have access to this? He's not struggling with, do I have access to this power or do I not have access to it? The Hermit knows that they have access to that power, and they know that the place that they access that power is within. So there's this sort of, again, we have this idea of illumination coming through with this Hermit card, especially with that lantern. He's on a quest and he doesn't necessarily need to see the path ahead of him. He trusts that that path will get him there. It's almost like that lantern being a light that is illuminated in traditional tarot as above, so below, that this, him simply taking the steps and him simply being himself and him simply being open to the possibility will guide him there naturally. So I don't know what this is in reference to. It almost feels like each person has this sort of direction that they're trying to go in, or maybe a direction that they're confused about. And the message that seems to be coming through here is that this is an initiatory process. And, you know, worrying about the outcome, worrying about the future, that's not going to get you anywhere. Trusting in the process, in the moment, the now, is what's going to get you somewhere. It's all about learning to take control of the mind, the emotions, the beliefs in the now. This is what makes a magician. Okay. Two cards. Seven of Wands to the Two of Swords. These are the underlying energies that may be influencing things. So the Seven of Wands, when we have Seven of Wands, this can be standing our ground. Okay, so there may be, sometimes when we have the standing our ground energy, this is beautiful energy. But in this context, it feels a little bit like being afraid to have the carpet pulled out from under us, or being afraid of the shoe dropping. This is going to be the energy that needs to be controlled, okay? Because again, that's the worst case scenario. That's that fear matrix still influencing our energy system, which does not necessarily cultivate our ability to create the thing that we want. This is what's blocking somebody, essentially. And this is what the Hermit is after. The Hermit is after, how do I reprogram this? How do I move the importance away from the problem and refocus the influence and the importance onto creation, right? This can be a very damaging energy, whereas a magician, somebody who gets into this magical crafting, I don't know why I said magical crafting, maybe that must be what somebody's getting into, but really controlling our desires and our energy and being able to direct our energy, this requires creation. This requires creative energy to operate from a different place than maybe these two energies have previously allowed us to operate from. So let's see. I said this. Okay, and then the Tower. Yeah, this is if it's trying to die, let it die. Okay, if it's trying to be over inside of your life, let it be over. Don't hold on. Don't hold on. I feel that sometimes we are ready to be over this energy and we still hold on to it because we don't want to be wrong, or we don't want to fail, or some people, we don't want to succeed. And the energy that's coming through from her is really just this message of, you're on this threshold. You're not alone on this threshold. The energy that's emerging at this threshold is energy that you're meant to learn things from. So go within, seek the answers that it has to provide you, and meanwhile allow yourself to let this energy pass away. You don't need the fear anymore in this context. You don't need to worry about the other shoe dropping. You need to dream, right? So there's someone here, it feels very much like the magical current is really calling you and is trying to help you up a level in some way, rather than staying stuck at the level that a lot of people stay stuck in, especially when they're not able to release this energy. I will say this, this, because we're going back to this ancient energy here with that hand clasping, it feels like this is part of someone's soul signature, that this is exactly who you are. And in order to become exactly who you are, you have to release all the things here that are not who you are, right? You are not fear. You are not your anxiety. You are not the problems in your life. You're much more than that. At your core, it's like you are the person that's here. You're the soul that's here to experience and to carve out experiences for yourself, to get back into that energy. There's a lot of love and wonder and play in that energy. And it's through coming back into alignment with that energy and removing these energies from yourself that you will discover the mysteries that are meant for you. So I'm going to leave this here, whoever's message this is. I wish you the best of luck with this. Feel free to like this video if it resonated with you, and feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.